Jason Selva, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu Black Belt. 3rd degree, right?
Yeah, 3rd degree.
School owner, gym owner, Selva BJJ in Alhambra.
East Los Angeles, California.
East Los Angeles.
Started in Alhambra.
Formerly in.
But now 2 blocks away from where I grew up. So.
Nice. Marketer, long time marketer. Somebody I always reach out to for ideas and advice. And the founder of Beatdown BBQ, which I hope to be talking to you about today.
Definitely. We have a brisket back there.
Yeah, you brought some briskets.
You get to try it too.
Thanks for coming out, man.
No, definitely. It was. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure. I know I shot that message out, just trying to get a little bit of, beatdown story.
Yeah.
A little bit. It's been a trying 18 months for many people, especially if you're here in Southern California. It's easy to feel dejected, and I hope, to get to tell the story of Beatdown BBQ, how it started, what came out of it, and, how it can really be a beacon of light and hope for everything that's going on. When the chips are down, just like, Jiu-Jitsu or MMA, you got to adapt. So that's what we did.
Yeah, cool. So, tell me the story, man. How did it happen? I've been seeing the ads and but the just content out there.
Yeah, no, it got a lot more viral than I had expected. Barbecue and cooking, I think maybe next to jiu-jitsu is probably what I like doing the most. My personality type, I don't like to wait for anything, so my earliest memories are me making eggs at 2 years old with my grandma.
2 years old?
2 years old. I didn't like to wait for anybody to make me food, and I've always been like that. Always been cooking. My parents cooked in front of me. They made, baby food for me, and now I'm making baby food for my son. And I guess those, images are ingrained in the back of my head. I was always around the at some point a little bit too much.
Yeah, congratulations, by the way, right? How old is your son now?
He's a year old. Just turned a year, August.
So one more year before he starts cooking, huh?
Yeah, one more year. He watches, though. He watches the recipes. It's interesting, being a father and seeing how fast they pick up. Like, he knows when I'm in the kitchen that he's about to eat. He'll wait. He sees me starting the machines. If I start eating, he gets really mad if he doesn't, have anything. So, yeah, cooking was something I always did. Barbecue was... I remember watching a TV show like on Food Network and being kind of intrigued about it. Like in the early 2000s, I made horrible barbecue then. And then actually I really got into it after I won the Abu Dhabi trials. So, in 2009, most people know, I won the Abu Dhabi trials. I ran my weight class in, 3 minutes. That time I was undersized.
You leg locked everybody, right?
Yeah, 3 heel hooks. No, 2 heel hooks and 1 toe hold. So I got, I qualified, but I was undersized. I was walking around at 187. Weight class was 195. This year they were talking about Paul Harris being in there, St. Pierre being in there, and I was like, I got to get bigger. So, I had stopped lifting weights, and back then I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew to go hard. So long story short, I was lifting weights and my bench broke and my body overcompensated. As I reached forward, my entire pec muscle came off. So I didn't get a chance to go compete. I tried to wait it out. Emailed, the guy's name. I forgot the guy's name, the one that was coordinating the plane tickets.
Yeah. Back in those days.
Yeah, I said, I can't make it. I said, cool. And during that time, I had surgery. Luckily, I ended up getting surgery 2 days after I got hurt. One of my students worked at USC, and I had tried to reach out to them to get my chest surgery done. They're like, it's going to take 3 months. And one of my students was like, are you trying to reach Dr. Otomura? I said, yes, I am. He's I'm his direct assistant. We'll get you in tomorrow. Wow. So before even insurance had trying to prove everything, I was already getting everything, sewn up, done up, and it's good to go. And there's always, a silver lining. God gives a certain deck of cards. You got to deal with it. We're not going to get out of this life, without being tried. It's not a smooth ride for anybody. So it's safe to say that the gym never would have grown to what it is now had I not had that injury, because back then it was an old school mentality. Like, I was running my gym kind of like Lions Den. You had to have a tryout to even sign up, and it wasn't being run like a school. It was
a fight club.
Yeah, basically it was a fight club is what it was. And when
you were probably pretty young too, right, when you started your gym?
I was 24, 25 when I started the gym. So we went ahead and did that, and it allowed me to really focus on my students and and being a teacher, really falling in love with teaching again, because I never sought out to have a school ever. I just wanted to just compete. And what happened when I was, with Johnny Ramirez, he had me teach a class. I didn't want to do it. I'm like, all right, I'll help my coach.
So let's go back in time. You grew up in L.A.
Yeah.
Where'd you grow up?
East Los Angeles, right by Cal State, L.A., El Sereno area.
Nice. And did you play any other sports or?
I did track and field, and I did musical theater.
Musical theater.
Yeah. I was a good swing dancer, except for the dancing part. I was really good at the stunts, and we got second place in the state.
Nice.
I ran track. I did the 100 meter.
100 meter.
I was the fastest kid in school.
Nice.
Had the LA City record for like a weekend, and then someone went ahead and broke it. You know, so those were the only sports that I did. There was a fund for wrestling, but it was never like, it was just like a fund. There was no coach, so we never got a chance to wrestle.
Yeah.
In track, we didn't really have a track team. We were coaching ourselves. My practice was racing every Friday. You know, so I didn't get a chance to do that. But, you know, we saw UFC tapes. I used to get the VHSs, and we would do
This is during high school?
Yeah, we did like underground fight club in the hallways during, you know, lunch break.
Nice. And then you're like, I want to learn this jiu-jitsu stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to learn jiu-jitsu. I remember telling my mom, there's this place. It's in Newport Beach. It's not that far. It's 50 miles. We can get there 50 minutes out, 50 minutes back, not knowing what was happening. So it didn't work. And then I found a Submission Factory with Larry Landless. That's going back, way back.
Yeah.
I showed up one day and Tito Ortiz was training there.
Referee extraordinaire, right?
Yeah. It was an underground illegal fight club that was being done in the wrestling room at 9 p.m. when the school was closed. So that was my first experience. My first match ever was against, well, not ever, it was a training session against Charlie Valencia. He busted my nose open, and they just
King of the old school King of the Cage guys.
Yeah, and then Joe Camacho popped my arm out of place. That's how my first training session went, and I loved it.
And you never looked back.
Yeah, they got shut down, and then I found Johnny Ramirez, and the plan was I'm always gonna go back to Submission Factory and see this like little guy like really beat me up, because at the time I was kind of big. I was like 210, lifting a lot of weights.
But it was a fight club's thing. I mean, but it was part of it, right? Part of you're like, I want to be tough. I want to be like these guys.
And then I found real jiu-jitsu, and then I never turned back.
Then you found what? Real jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, real jiu-jitsu school.
How was that finding like real jiu-jitsu? Like, you know, because people like today and age, right? It's like it's hard to kind of see that, like the old school. It's cool because you got to be experienced that, right? But a lot of people now, like, you don't really see so many of that kind of training. You know, that's a lot of things are more professional now.
Back then, the blue belt was a unicorn. A purple belt was a real unicorn. Johnny was a purple belt, and that was like being like a world champion black belt, because it was a lot harder to get your belts back then. Well, it was a lot harder to get your belts back then, and finding real credentialed jiu-jitsu. And I remember him mounting me like, how the hell is this?
Where was his gym? Was it called New Breed back then?
No, it was East Los Angeles Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
East Los Angeles.
That's why the
BJJ.
back of my shirt says established in 2001, because I kind of feel that I'm carrying on that lineage. We went to Santa Fe Springs, but we were literally, our mat space was a little less than half the size of this room, and we had a little corner of a kickboxing gym, and we had great times. I got my blue belt in 10 months. You know, we were just competing, and those were good times. You know, you don't need a big gym to get good. It was a lot. It was interesting watching that transition, and then now seeing the commercialization of jiu-jitsu and the involvement. And there's good and there's bad with it. I think it's great that, you know, more people get involved with it and they're able to do stuff. But I kind of feel a little bit of some of the they say that the root style training gets lost. Like,
Johnny, so you guys are in East LA, and then what's his name? Rodrigo Medeiros, yeah. He was in Orange County. La Habra?
Yeah, he left La Habra to go to San Diego because he had a billionaire student that funded that school over there. It was given to Vitor Belfort, but Vitor Belfort left, and so he went to Pacific Beach. Johnny took over La Habra for a little bit from Chris Franco and John Owano while we were building out New Breed.
And so Lucas Leitch is over there right now, right?
Chris has always had a knack for attracting top talent. I mean, he had Rodrigo, Vitor Belfort, Leo Vera, Javier Vasquez, and now Lucas.
Yeah. So it's always been the same spot?
The same spot. It's always been like a champion factory. I've trained on all the different people that have been there. I think like Lucas being there now is probably the closest that it was to, you know, back then when I started. It was Tim Crater, John Ramirez, Javier Vasquez, Romy Aram, you know, Tim Crater teaching me heel hooks as a white belt when Rodrigo Medeiros was gone. Later on, would lay the foundations for winning the Abu Dhabi trials.
Damn.
Yeah, but that injury.
Because I was wondering how the Checkmate affiliation started with you.
Oh, well, it's because Owano always brought people down. And I'm gonna get into something I think that might help be instructive for a lot of people for jiu-jitsu, if that's okay.
Yeah,
we talk barbecue.
Yeah, for sure. It's all intertwined, right?
Yeah, right. It is. It's Beatdown. So Johnny Ramirez is hands down the best instructor that I've ever had. But that being said, he was still learning while he was teaching us. And
like we all are, right?
well, we were always evolving, you know, and I was competing at middleweight and medium heavy. Unfortunately, most of my training partners were 130 pounders, 140 pounders. And as a student, I was always getting told, you're too strong, you're using too much technique, you're too strong. And what that did is they gave me like a little bit of a complex. So when all
using too much strength.
Yeah, exactly. When Lucas and Leo and everybody came over, I was like, dude, where's like all this like no strength thing coming from? These guys are going balls to the wall, and they were closer to my size. So it was I needed to get training. I started training with them. I've been training with Lucas and Marcelo Zado since like 2005.
Okay.
So, I mean, I had Johnny for the first part of my formative career, but arguably, like, I've been training with a Checkmate team, you know, Marcelo and Lucas, you know, longer. So that's kind of how that happened. And then I broke off. I had my school, and I needed to get training. So I was driving from Alhambra all the way up to Upland to go ahead and get some training for Abu Dhabi trials. And that's kind of like how that happened. And, you know, Lucas is a very welcoming guy, you know, really non-political dude, lets everybody come there and train. I felt welcome, and I just kept training there. But more than that, like I said, instructive, because, you know, when I was a short, stocky guy, so I was told you're not going to have a guard, you know, you're not going to have a triangle, instead of, well, man, you know, if you lock your legs around someone's thigh, they're not going to get out.
When did you immerse yourself? How old were you when you found real jiu-jitsu? You started training with Johnny Ramirez?
18.
18?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you went all in. You're, you know, what was your mom saying, for example?
You can't make money doing wrestling while you're dropping out of college. Everything I do, I'll go all in. We'll get to that barbecue story, how I went all in too later on. But I just went all in. I fell in love with it. I knew that's what I wanted to do. I never thought I was going to have a school. I thought I was like going to compete, you know, maybe fight like a little bit of MMA, or I would do another job on the side while being able to train jiu-jitsu. But everything I did was around funding the jiu-jitsu journey.
And what kept you going? What kept you going? Why didn't you stop?
I wanted to get a black belt. Yeah, I wanted to get a black belt, and I wanted to win the Abu Dhabi trials. Those were my two goals. Like, I saw Marcelo Garcia. I saw these Japanese people doing leg locks, and that's what I wanted to do. Right
on. What was it like getting your black belt?
It was a little bit bittersweet, because I felt like it took a little bit too long, like the chest injury, you know, that I have. But, you know, it was great. You know,
how long was the process for that injury?
18 months for me to be able to come back. But the reason what made it special for me is that I got my blue belt, my brown belt, and my black belt with Rodrigo Medeiros. Johnny promoted me to purple, but because he was under Rodrigo, I remember I was about to get my blue belt. I wasn't quite sure if I was ready, and Rodrigo's like, "No, you go ahead and get ready." And, you know, he promoted me to blue, brown, you know, and black. So even though he was mentoring me from afar, he's always been, you know, a mentor toward me. And, you know, he really helped a lot of my promotion strategies and promotion, some of my teaching ways. Like, remember he was saying that when you promote somebody, it's not some instructors like to promote only when they think you're going to win a title at the next level. And he says he likes to promote people when he feels that they're ready to learn at the next level. And, like, just like water, they're going to rise to that level. He says he promoted people to black belt that weren't ready. My friend James got smashed, white, purple, brown. And I never remember him winning anything. I just always remember him losing. Goes and wins brown belt worlds at adult. So you never know when your time's ready. So it's all about keeping people the journey, because if they leave, they're never going to reach that end.
That's good you say that, because people get, because I didn't win at white belt, I'm not going to win at the other belts, or, you know, they think that, right?
But it took Monique all the way.
Like Saul Ribeiro, who's my favorite, I think he's my favorite competitor of all time. You know, he told me he didn't win anything until black belt.
Yeah, I didn't place in an IBJJF tournament like Worlds or Pans until black belt. Monique didn't win Worlds until, you know, brown belt. You know, it was just, I remember, like, it was always, I used to call it the Cal State Dominguez curse. I would show up and I would flop. Couldn't place at anything. And then, you know, I go a black belt and I get like 2 medals right away at adult. So you never know when your time is.
So going back to that moment when you got your black belt, what was going through your mind? Like, you know, emotions, like all the years, all the injuries, all the ups and downs, right?
I like getting it over there in Pacific Beach, because it's always been like a second home or a second family. I don't know if you've ever trained at Rodrigo's school in PB, but it's like
I didn't, but he's always been so cool, and, you know, I felt very like
it feels
like
family.
Family, yeah. Even though he was Carlson Gracie, I always felt like he was he was cool. He was different.
Yeah,
Not different, but more like warm and
a little bit more personable.
Personal,
than some
yeah,
of the
personable.
Other Carlson Gracie guys,
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and it's
Well
like
said.
little Brazil. People from other teams have always mixed there. He's always had an open mind to mixing wrestling
Rodrigo.
and leg locks. And he's one of, in my opinion, one of the more technical guys.
Yeah.
You know, from that team. So being able to basically like come back home and get the black belt there and have that culmination of
That's awesome.
everything was. It really meant a lot. I wouldn't have wanted to have it, any other way. Just be there at home and get in the warmth. And I know I could walk in there right now, and I haven't been
Was
there.
Johnny was there too?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's a different set
Okay,
story.
it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
It's cool that you give him credit. You know,
Oh,
always
he's,
now, yeah.
my style, my formative
Yeah,
style
yeah.
happened at white belt. Those basics for white to blue. He took me as far as he could for that
Yeah,
level,
yeah.
and then getting to that next level. But I still ask him questions to this day. I'll
Yeah.
reference, hey, dude, like, what do you know about this? Because guy's an encyclopedia.
Yeah, he's smart,
Like,
man.
he
I was-
knows
yeah.
a lot of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like even Lucas and Marcel, they'll all give him credit on his
Yeah.
depth of jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
knowledge. I really feel that class of white belt, we really got the best Johnny.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I've never seen him teach like that ever. So
Did you cry when you got your black belt?
yeah, I teared up a little bit. It was really emotional to finally get there because there was a lot of drama. I'm not going to get into this podcast of people preventing me from trying to get my black belt, calling stuff in to prevent the promotion.
Oh, yeah?
There's some of that jiu-jitsu gossip.
Yeah.
They didn't like it when I opened up my school. They were people that were.
That's right, that's right. I remember that,
I
yeah.
got dojo stormed by 5 black belts when I had a purple belt. This is not.
Yeah, because you were young and you were like, you were young. I remember that. I remember it because I'm friends with everybody, right? So I can remember a little bit of that. I didn't know all about it, but I heard, you know.
They got heel hooked.
What's that?
They got heel hooked. We had people undercover black belts dojo
really?
storming, like, oh, I just want to train, and then they go and beat up a couple of my guys, and I was in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
I still am now, but I was in good shape then. And I had to defend myself. It was like dojo
people
storming doesn't happen anymore. But this was I had to defend
Come on, man! You got
myself.
the tail end of it, you know.
Yeah.
You
2007.
You're
was
blessed,
still-
man. You got the tail end of the Fight Club
yeah,
experience.
2007 was still real enough. Maybe
it's
they
right
dojo
at
stormed-
right at the end, you know.
And now no one's gonna dojo storm. They're gonna call the cops. So
Yeah. What? Yeah. So you said you cried because you remember all the memories. So yeah, tell me
well,
more,
I mean,
man.
yeah, what a lot of people don't understand about jiu-jitsu is like whether you win or lose, you're always bringing out the best version of yourself. You're coming to train, you're trying to be the best version of yourself, and I really feel that, when you get to black belt, and you think about, I think most black belts will resonate with us, like all the opportunities missed or lost that go along the way, all the relationships that get built, and all the relationships that you lose. It's a hard journey. It's very easy for people to get up. Work gets hard. Relationships get hard. Money gets hard.
Yeah.
But to be able to still concept, I think it's something that separates, jiu-jitsu from other martial arts. Just the amount of time that it takes to get there and the amount of work that you need. So, I mean, that was an emotional experience, for me. I dropped out of college, and in order to pursue this jiu-jitsu thing, because it felt right. So to finally get there and get the black belt, technically like second degree, second generation. I mean, Rodrigo Medelis is first generation, and I'm under him, second generation. Carlson Gracie black belt, was amazing. And to be there as part of that lineage, and finally get that culmination and that that recognition was awesome.
Yeah.
And that's something I try to tell my students that that a lot of people never make it, and it's not their fault. Stuff happens. Wife, kids, job, moving. It's very easy to talk yourself out of not showing up. To that 1 hour twice a week.
Going in the talking about your mom, for example, she's like, you're not gonna be able to make money with this wrestling stuff and things like that. And so when did that shift, or when did she see that it was good for you?
When I started the school, I had a background in doing loans and sales, and then in 2007, I kind of saw the writing on the wall. I was like I said, I'm very impulsive.
Like that's all you're doing all day. You might as well.
Yeah, well, and that wasn't so much that. I saw the writing on the wall that stuff was about to collapse. It was July of 2007.
Oh, okay.
And I was talking about I want to open up a school in August in 2007. I'd already prepaid a year of my lease. And that also cost me a lot because the city didn't let me open. I lost 6 months of my lease trying to open up. I almost lost it all. I got a good deal on the lease. I negotiated like half price and gave the guy $36,000
It's
up
a lot
front.
of pitfalls, right?
Yeah, but the good thing is that that whole experience with opening up in Alhambra, they're a very difficult city to work with. It's kind of like boot camp. I've helped maybe open about 15 schools from friends of mine. I don't charge them. I already know how to do all the paperwork. A friend of mine's opening up a restaurant right now. The city has not let them open up for a year. She hired a professional person that specializes in business documents. Their app got declined. I spent an hour. App got approved.
Yeah, there's nothing like experience, right?
Yeah, experience is the best teachers. Experience is experience.
And losing or making mistakes, right?
Oh, mistakes are the best. I have way more L's than I have W's in my life.
Yeah.
Falling on my face lots of times.
Yeah. Right on, man. That's cool, you know. How many years, what year did you start training?
I started training in 2001. Well, 2001 was March. I remember paying to sign up for Muay Thai and for Jiu Jitsu. I trained for 2 weeks, and then I didn't show up till after 9/11.
Okay.
At 9/11, it's kind of coincidence. We're coming up on that 20-year anniversary.
Yeah.
You know, and when that happened, I was like, dude, I don't want to. I'm young. I ran a little franchise of an alarm security company, Edison. I used to door knock in Compton to sell people alarm systems. I had a friend that knew someone that worked in the police force, and they would let me know when someone's neighborhood got broken into, and I would be there.
Hustling, huh? You were 18 years old, hustling, knocking on doors.
Yeah, exactly. Knocking on doors
in Compton.
In Compton, and it wasn't that overtaken. It wasn't what it was now. It's a little bit more dangerous. But I remember going there, hustling, door knocking, canvassing neighborhoods. It was a great experience for anything. If you humble yourself to knock doors, you know, you're gonna go ahead and be able to pretty much handle any sales job. So I did that, and then I had like $10,000 saved up. 9/11 happened. I realized life was short. I remember driving back from LA Fitness and listening to Big Boy on the radio talking about the Twin Towers went down. I was like, dude, screw this, man. I'm just gonna go train. That's what I want to do. Like, anything could be gone at any given moment.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I changed my career completely. I went from a commission salesperson to a dishwasher at Denny's, because I reasoned to myself that if I washed dishes, I could get free food. I don't want to rely on my parents because I was in the kitchens. My dad was a custodian, you know, growing up. He came here from Nicaragua, not speaking English, but he was 12 years old, and by the time he was 13, he already had a language mastered and won some national level essay contest. So that, I think that's kind of where my drive comes from to do stuff. So yeah, I wanted to work in the kitchen.
What does your mom do?
Teacher. They're both educators. My parents are teachers. Yeah, that's what they both did. But my mom's family, they actually go back to like New Mexico. We can trace them back like 18 generations, the Salcido side, you know. So yeah, and then I did that, and I wanted to go ahead and work in the kitchen because I was fast. I could make my own hours. You know, they always needed dishwashers, and that's kind of where I cut some of my culinary teeth, working, you know, on the line in a diner at a Denny's. And it was great because when they have chicken breast there, they're in the warmer, and they never all get used. So I would get my meal prep right there. Chicken breast, rice, salsas, and I did that all the way through like purple belt because I was able to get free food working in kitchens.
So you don't have to eat at home or whatever.
Yeah, I just nobody wanted a dishwashing job. Even back then, it was hard to find dishwashers. It was, you know, excuse my language, but a shit job for most people. But I didn't care. It was easy. It allowed me to train. That's all I cared about, was being able to train.
You got your black belt, and so what year did you get your black belt?
2011.
2011.
End of 2011, yeah.
Yeah. Right on. You had your school already, and then right, the struggles with that, right? Everybody thinks, it's maybe some people make it look easy, but it's like,
oh yeah, there's been.
I mean, you were getting dojo stormed, you know.
I was getting and I kind of like that. Like in the beginning, it was cool. It was dojo storm.
I mean, you're like, how old are you? You're like 22 or something.
No, I was like 25, 24. Actually, let's see. Oh yeah, 23, 24. Yeah, around there, like 24 years old. So we went ahead and did that, and that was fun. And then as you grow the school and try to run it like a real school, my door knocking experience, I was just aggressive. We got enrollments just because I knew how to talk to people, but it's nowhere near as organized as it is, you know, now. That shift in 2009, shifting from like, you know, a competition only school, but I guess like elite competition school, to, you know, opening up to families made the difference, because I never wanted to be a teacher. My parents were teachers. I didn't want to do that. I don't want to go in law enforcement or military. And then now, you know, I'm a jiu-jitsu guy that, you know, was teaching. And even with barbecue, I'm teaching too. So I couldn't get away from that part of my personal, I guess, my skill set. So we went ahead and did that, and shifting and seeing.
Because when you're younger, right? You're thinking about competitors. There weren't that many kids weren't that evolved yet, right? In competitions and stuff, right?
No, they weren't. My whole goal was to do the I had a chip on my shoulder because I'd gotten a little bit of ostracized from the team that I was at before, and my goal was to be better than them. I wanted to be better than them, so I made sure at any tournament that we were at, we had to beat them, and we did.
Oh, for the kids and the adults.
For any tournament we went to, North America was brand new back then. I remember I took some students over to U.S. Nationals. I was a purple belt, and all my white belts won. We won all 6 of them. I'm sorry, 4 of them won golds, and I felt vindicated. But looking back, like I probably lost so much business just trying to make the school ready for those white belts. But it was good times. And
what shifted your mindset to like, man, I gotta run this thing like more professionally, and did you think about you wanted to be able to like have a family in the future, or was it just?
Well, yeah, I did come upon some new responsibilities, that I had to deal with, and then just getting injured made me realize I have to shift. Like this competition stuff isn't going to work. And fortunately for me, I had some great people that were loyal to me that helped run the gym while I was able to find myself and work on that. Chris Wolford, Noah Tillis, who I've known since he was a little boy. I used to take him to his pancration matches. Ben Trivu, those people were all really stepped up for me, to allow. And Johnny too, during that time, he came out, and he helped. And he gave feedback when I was first starting up the school, and I've always been able to reach out to him, for advice. So, those people really helped during that time while we started to get the shift. But it wasn't until I started talking to Marco Savalon, Lloyd Irvin, and some of those other people that I was really able to see like how a martial arts school was, supposed to be, run. That made a big difference of changing it and making it for families.
Yeah. Because you want it to be for everybody, right? Not just like one group of people. Everybody can benefit from it.
When I got hurt, I got to think about like what the number one benefit of martial arts was, and like what did it do for me? What did I learn about myself? I learned that I'm determined. I learned that I'm giving, and I learned, that I liked helping people, and how am I gonna help other people decide that? Because I really think that it's easy to get caught up in the flashy submissions and the fighting, but it really is a martial art. We're all given a certain deck of cards, body type, and we have to, interpret that art in our own style, and I really think that your personality, your true personality comes across on the mat. And when you're getting ready for competition allows us to see, the best versions of ourselves. Even if you lose, you're still going to be a better version of yourself. And I think that, back then I thought things were getting soft for kids, for as far as like, participation trophies. And I always thought for kids it would be great because they're able to get instant feedback, what worked and what didn't work. And I had a student come in with one leg and not feel sorry for himself. We used to call him half guard.
Half guard, no way.
Yeah, cancer patient. He'd beaten cancer 5 times, and he was there to be an example for his son. And really seeing, Larry, do that, like it gave me inspiration. I was like, man, this guy motivates, me to be better. So we're always learning, always trying to be a better coach, for our students, especially during this past year, 18 months. Anybody that really wants to train, they found out what's important to them, and people that were on the fence, they found out what's important to them. But it's kind of like a rebirth. People that really weren't about that training life aren't here anymore, and people that still are wanted to do it are here.
Yeah.
Things have never been so smooth at the gym, believe it or not, as they have been right now.
Oh, I was going to ask you how it's been, the last couple of years with the, pandemic and everything.
Yeah,
Jiu-Jitsu, right? The opposite of social distancing.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the past, honestly, like I was really shocked at a jiu-jitsu school because when the pandemic first happened, as you know, I work with Ed and Scott, at CHIP, so we get access to
cancer,
different
hospital.
Kind of some scientists. We have one of the guys that's on our scientific advisory board used to help run the infectious diseases area of the NIH. So I'm always able to hear, feedback that you're not necessarily getting on the news. And in the beginning, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I said, well, we had to shut down for a little bit because, was trying to go and keep things safe.
Right.
And then I was shocked that a jiu-jitsu school somewhere wasn't part of like a super spreader event because, like you said, it's opposite of social distancing. I wasn't worried about jiu-jitsu person like actually getting taken out. I'm sure there are some people that got hurt, but I was positive that some kid at some school somewhere was going to take it back home to grandma, and that kind of like, didn't happen. Much like yourself, I have people there that are on visas, and if they don't fight, they get deported.
Yeah.
So we had to keep things, going for them, and we did stuff, within guidelines and compliance. We're in a small little corner of, East Los Angeles that nobody, really cares about. But as we've gotten into like this next wave of students, we have a leaner staff. Monique and I are meeting all the people as they come in because I want to be selective about the people that enroll. I'm not just trying to enroll a bunch of people. Like we have a waiting list. You have like 50 people to get in the gym. We're only letting a few people in at a time just because there's like an interview process now, for them to show up and make sure that they do want to be part of this family, that they're invested in themselves just like we're invested in them. So it's been pretty good, rebuilding the gym and getting to meet everyone from the ground up because prior to the pandemic, I had like 25 staff members. There were some students I never knew, parents that I never knew. Now we know everybody.
Now it's tighter, huh? The group.
Yeah, I think Monique and getting pregnant did that too. Like it brought a lot of the students together around our son Seferino. It's a family.
Your son's name is
Seferino. Seferino, Gary Selva. Seferino is my wife's grandfather, and Gary is her late father. So Seferino, Gary. Yeah, Selva. So yeah, everybody kind of like came together with that. I felt like it was a glue that held us together. You walk in the gym now, he's sitting there watching class with his little jumper, very into it, and it just brings a different vibe to the gym to what we had before. Yeah. So.
I feel the same with it's brought us together closer, the team and just our community, like just because. Yeah, we're people needed it, right?
Well, not just that. I mean,
for keep themselves sane.
Yeah, in jiu-jitsu, it's so easy to play red, and like be counterparts to other school members. And during this whole time, we realized that we're out one jiu-jitsu community. Yeah. The biggest place I noticed that was during competition training over at Lucas's. And before, it gets Brazilians get cliquey. They go on their side of the mat. Americans go on their side of the mat. But when this whole thing happened, like everyone came together, all that little cliquiness just kind of abolished itself. We were all there for the banner of jiu-jitsu, and that's it. It's
interesting. It's funny, too. Like, not funny, but interesting that they're all patriotic. The Brazilians are, like, super patriotic. I mean, they all came, so many people came here for the opportunities, right? And now, like, these restrictions and all these, these government mandates, like stopping the freedom, right? The American dream, right? Yeah. Stopping a lot of the things that they came here for.
It's funny to see a lot of immigrants have a little bit more patriotic tendencies than people that were born here.
Here, right?
I mean, like the saying goes, like when they're raised in your own house, they don't know. It's just interesting. Yeah, a lot of them are very patriotic and are into their freedoms and making their own decisions. And
yeah. Have you seen any of the Brazilian videos from this last week, the Independence Day in Brazil?
No, I didn't.
Like packed, like all the cities.
And my phone was thrashed. I was pretty much off of social media for the entire time that I was at the event in Reno. We were there from August 31st up until September 7th. That's over a week.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a little bit over a week.
Wow. So let's talk about the Beatdown barbecue.
Yeah. So
how did they go? How did that start? And what's the goal?
It all goes back to jiu-jitsu at the end of the day. Right. That was another big learning that I had for myself. Like I used to have kind of like a chip on my shoulder. Wrestling, American martial arts, and I never really thanked jiu-jitsu for what it gave to me, but it did. It gave me the school. Met my wife there. Got my son out of jiu-jitsu. Beatdown BBQ, and my whole lifestyle is dedicated to the art of jiu-jitsu. So that never happened. We might never be having this conversation. So in 2009, when I hurt myself, I got into two hobbies: beer making and barbecue.
Beer making.
I was making barbecue. I turned my gym into a mini brewery. I wasn't selling beer, but I was making beer over there. I gained like 30 pounds. I had to give up one of them.
That's right. You were lifting weights, huh?
I was lifting weights. I was eating beer,
making beer
and barbecue. So I kind of learned it was a hobby. Did a little bit of catering. Like I said, I always liked to cook, and then that kind of fell out. So about 2 months before the pandemic, this is actually a Alberto Crane exclusive. I've never shared this portion of the Beatdown BBQ story because I didn't want to have like. I didn't want to give this note tip, but I'll go ahead and share it. So 2 months before the pandemic, a student of mine tried committing suicide. It was one of the kids that had been in my class since he was, 10 years old. It was more of a cry for help, suicide, overdose on pills, and they called up his grandma. And this time he's like 19 years old. So I said, hey, you know what? He always wanted to be a chef. So I said, hey, why don't we go ahead and do some barbecue together? We'll come together. We'll split it down the middle. I'll buy all the equipment. So I reached out to my barbecue competition friends, bought some smokers, set everything up. Kid being a kid, he disappeared on me. It ended up having a good story, good ending. He got a job. He's working as a sous chef somewhere, so it worked out okay. But dealing with teenagers, I got left with all the equipment. So I said, all right, we'll go ahead and do that. My kids' team needed some more gear. They were good at winning, but they didn't have patches on their gis. We didn't have a machine for a heat press. I said, hey, let's do a barbecue fundraiser. So we did that, and it got kind of viral.
I remember that. I remember that first day.
Yeah.
The first
It was
event.
we did that. It was barbecue fundraiser. I was like, okay, cool. So I'm gonna start doing this once a week, once every other week. And then the pandemic hit, and I was like, oh, dang. So we had a couple options. Like, you know, much like yourself, we had different options. Like, what kind of leader are we going to be? Like, I'm fortunately and unfortunately, like, I thrive under wartime. I like being stressed, you know, so I was a wartime leader.
Brings out the best out of you.
Yeah, I realized I had to be a leader, you know, for the students that were there, and most for the instructors. A lot of them had no other way. They weren't going to qualify for unemployment. So I said, okay, we're going to have to start doing barbecue for real to pay the bills. I could shut down, could maybe apply for some loans, but, you know, I told all the instructors got together, and I said, I'm going to do this for you. We're a family. We either thrive together or go down together. We'll ride this ship until it burns down. So I started selling the barbecue, and then it started getting really, really popular. A couple months into it, we got secret shot by the LA Times. And we got named as the top 11 barbecue spot in the LA Times. And as I was buying more equipment, Monique's like, what are you doing? You're spending more money. I said, Monique, trust me. So I get goosebumps talking about this part. I got the same feeling about starting Beatdown BBQ as when I started Selva Jiu-Jitsu. And you know me, I've tried several small different businesses, but this had that same umph. I felt like God was pushing me this direction. So it started as, you know, a pop-up once every other week, then every week, and then 2 times a week, and, you know, got really crazy. You know, we had a couple of people shout us out. Derek, the Black Beast Lewis, shouted us out because I named a sandwich after him, the Black Beast.
The Black Beast.
My thing is we make giant sandwiches, and now, you know, we just cooked 3,000 ribs in Reno. I have my barbecue sauces and rubs and barbecue instructionals, you know, coming out soon. We're getting that filmed as we speak. So it grew. It just, I guess, you know. And
you brought today. What did you bring?
I brought you some of our brisket with our
brisket.
OG.
That's what you're with that your top.
It's one of our top items. Our style of barbecue is like everything in California is a mix. So I try to take the best out of. I'm as much a barbecue nerd as I am a jiu-jitsu nerd. So I try to take the best of each region. Like everyone says that a lot of people don't know is that American barbecue is the only style of cooking that's native to the United States. We're a nation of immigrants, so all the styles that we have, that's the only one that started here. You know, some people say, you know, the slaves had their version of doing it. Other people say it was Kansas City, this guy that was cooking roadkill. They all have their own versions of barbecue, and the way we do it here is a little bit mix of both. I like to take, you know, some of like the bark that you'll get from Texas barbecue. I have some nice sauces from like Kansas City and a little bit of the heat that you get from Memphis and Tennessee, and mix it with the West Coast style, which is like, you know, tri-tip. So this rub that I have there is not traditional, but it's, you know, it's like jiu-jitsu. It's our own style. And initially it was just—
How much time do you spend looking at trying recipes out and looking at stuff a day?
How long has the pandemic been? That's basically about it. It just took me to the next level, getting those reps, and I've cooked well over 1,000 briskets in the last year and a half.
Wow.
Easily. You know, then Mike Baltram put us out. We did a cook for Chef Villanueva, and that catapulted us. You know, we built our following, you know, organically. We were at 0 followers, you know, in February of last year. And now we're—
Do you have an Instagram?
Yeah. Beatdown BBQ. So we just passed 16,400.
Wow.
You know, it's great. And they're
Beatdown BBQ.
Yeah, they're highly engaged. And we also do cooks for the homeless. You know, last year we fed over 1,000 real homeless, not, you know, people that don't want to work, people that are really down and out on their luck. So we're able to give back. We'd like to do stuff like that. We're trying to plan a cook for some veterans, you know, pretty soon, because I think it's important to be outward focused, like no matter what you're doing. You know, that's the one thing that I learned out of the pandemic. Being outward focused is never gonna hurt. You know, it was easy to shut down the school and hold in, or like Beatdown Barbecue and only focus on, you know, money for us and money for the students and the school. But I wanted to teach people that you could still do this and be outward focused and still have a worthy cause while running a profitable, you know, venture. So
yeah, how can people find you, or where can they buy some brisket from you?
On our Instagram, Beatdown.
Instagram, okay.
Instagram, you know, beatdownbbq.com and Beatdown BBQ on Instagram.
And they can order online and pick it up.
It's all by pre-order. We do it once a week. Right now we're on Saturdays. I was doing Sundays for 18 months, but after 18 months, working 7 days a week, that got old. So got a son now. We shifted over to Saturdays. I also want to be able to go back to church, so we're doing that on Saturdays right now.
Right on. And your son is 1 years old?
Yes, 1 year old. You know, this August 22nd.
1 year old, right?
Yeah,
How do you say that? It's awesome, man. Congrats, man. And Monique, I mean, you talked about how jiu-jitsu is giving you everything, and like, you know, I mean, I think about myself, and it's like everything I have is because of jiu-jitsu and my journey, right? Going forward, going all, you know, all in, and the lessons that I learned and the things that it made me become, right? So can you talk a little bit about that? What it's done for you? Like,
well, I mean, what it's done for me is all those lessons, but I mean, I met my wife, my soulmate, over at the gym. I've never fished off the company pier. I was really good at keeping things separate.
Yeah.
Got a lot of soccer moms that were reaching out to me, but
Yeah.
business was business. But I came back from a conference, you know, and I saw Monique on the mat, and I looked across the mat from her, and I just saw my life flash before my eyes.
wow.
You know, she was taking shots, she was looking at me, and I was like, I'm gonna marry this woman. I knew it instantly. My grandfather had a similar experience with my grandmother. So, you know, we did that. Things moved fast. You know, here we are 8 years later, you know, married. You know,
Eight years later?
8 years
Wow.
later, married with our, you know, first kid. So, yeah, but I mean, jiu-jitsu's done a lot. It's taught me how to grind. This last weekend in Reno, you know, was a 7-day ordeal. I was probably on my feet at least 14 hours out of the 16, 17 hours we were awake. Being conditioned, because during the pandemic, I actually got in better shape. Like right now, I'm walking like at 198, 199. I used to cruise like between 210 and 220. It got wartime for me. Like I was like, stuff might go down. I need to be in good shape. Being fat's not good. So I slimmed up. But all that conditioning, like it served me well during the time in Reno. We're working with people that aren't necessarily in the best amount of health, and being able to have the stamina to sit there and stand all day long, all the training, you know, definitely, you know, help with that. And like I was telling the students yesterday, like I have to think about the mentality of, you know, when you're getting ready to, you know, train, cut weight, you can always take those lessons into anything, you know, that you do. And I had to do that this weekend in Reno, 3,000 ribs. I probably sliced about 70.
3,000 ribs.
Yep, 3,000 racks of ribs. We were getting up at 5, 6 in the morning, cooking loads.
What's the event? What's the event like?
So it's called a Nugget Rib Festival. Like I said, I'm pretty new to the barbecue world. It's been going on for 34 years. There were about 600,000 people in attendance during that week. They come out every year. It's the biggest barbecue vending event in the world. I was invited by some friends of mine who are high-level barbecue competitors. It was their first time vending. It was kind of cool because they don't have vending experience that much. And I had a lot of vending experience, so it was good to mix everything together and, you know, show them how certain things get done, working on the line, going back to, you know, being a dishwasher and working in Denny's, like all that stuff like came into play. It was interesting. It was a very grueling event. It was the hardest cooking experience I've ever had. It was felt like I was doing my weight class in 2 opens.
Relating everything back to jiu-jitsu. I want to ask you one more time, like what your vision is, what your goals, where you I didn't get to finish on the Beatdown BBQ. What your goals are, what your vision is for that.
Yeah, so my vision for Beatdown BBQ is, you know, I want to take it as big as I can. I don't want a restaurant. I've worked that before. It's going to be its own line of unique, you know, rubs and sauces. We have our first sauces coming out, should be here in about 10 to 12 weeks. Like everyone else, the sauce people can't find people to work during the pandemic. So even though the recipe's packed tight, that's going to be coming out, our local better, the barbecue sauce, and also instructionals for people. So it's, you know, I have my product, and BBQforbeginners.com is the website. Should be coming out with our first instructional pretty soon. And much like jiu-jitsu, we had to adapt that. So I put a message to my followers, and I asked them what the number one thing was that they wanted to learn. What do you think it was?
How to do it?
Yeah, but how to do it if you don't have a barbecue grill and if you live in an apartment. Going back to jiu-jitsu again, when Monique and I first started dating, I was living out of my gym. I didn't have anything else but a hot plate and a heat source. So I learned how to do all that stuff indoors. So our first series is going to be how to make like a barbecue steak indoors and still get that smoky flavor if you live in an apartment. So we're doing that with an air fryer. And then we're also going to be doing a local rib seminar pretty soon in a few weeks. So we're going to go 2 ways. But I mean, I kind of feel like a jerk if I just bring up my commercial smokers and say, hey guys, this is how you cook. So
what's the smoker? What's the grill that you use?
I've got a few. They're named after my grandparents. So the one that I have is called Graciela. It's a Stumps. It's an XL box smoker made of steel. I mean, made of iron. It's heavy. And I have an old hickory pit, which is a restaurant style smoker. These smokers are huge. I can get 24 briskets in my bigger one, and 12 in the smaller one. So my goal with this next series that I'm doing is I'm going to find the most junky looking smokers. like something you would find in a yard sale and show them how to do it on that, like a beat up whatever grill. Because that's relatable to people. I don't want to just be showing stuff for people that have nice things.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show how to do stuff on like junk, because I've cooked on a trash can. I can make good barbecue on a trash can.
Yeah. And so, and I'm thinking about like with jiu-jitsu too, you know, like, and it's your life, right? So what's your legacy? What would you like to give back? It's given you so much, right? Your family, your way of life, right? Barbecue too.
Yeah, that's why we're still here. I mean, with everything going on and with the skill sets that I have, it's very easy to up and leave California. I could do barbecue anywhere, instructionals everywhere, but we're still here in East Los Angeles. I think that we're able to make an impact on the youth in the area, and more so families in the area. That's the one thing that happened. All the single people that were on, gym owner talk here, were on monthly memberships are gone. All the families stayed. They needed a place for their kids. When the pandemic first happened, a lot of people didn't have babysitters. They didn't know what to do. The gym's pretty big, and I converted a 1,000 square foot room into a computer lab, and we're basically running a private school there for free.
Wow.
I didn't charge the parents. My family's all educators, so I had credentialed teachers in there helping the kids get through the Zoom classes. You know, these kids not being able to get social interaction. I don't even know what the long-term ramifications are going to be on everything going on, but I'm able to make a difference, for the kids that are there now, and allow them to get social interaction now and still learn all the lessons and still keep them together. So, like, that's our main thing, trying to be a bastion of hope out there in East Los Angeles, and it's a non-political environment. There's no left, there's no right. There's just jiu-jitsu.
Human race.
Same thing with the 323 market that we have. It's community. The one thing that we learned out of this pandemic that happened, no one's going to come save us. We have to provide for ourselves. So kind of like people did back in the day, we've come together as a community. We have local vendors that are able to operate in a safe environment in our parking lot. So that's the message, to be a bastion of hope. What's going on over there, non-political, come in, live a healthy lifestyle, and just come together and interact and have fun.
Yeah, right on, man. That's awesome. Yeah, barbecue, the combination, right? Barbecue, jiu-jitsu, family, right?
Yeah. And people always remember my students, you just open a barbecue shack with the jiu-jitsu school. No.
It's too complicated.
Yeah, no, I don't want to
separate those things.
Yeah, but with meat prices going the way they are, the rubs and sauces are going to be great, because I kind of feel that, it's going to be more difficult for restaurants to survive and if there's like, I hate to say this, but there's like another lockdown or something like that, people have discovered new hobbies. I wasn't going to do instructionals because like I learned a lot on my own. I went on YouTube and experimented, and there's good information out there, but people want it packaged, for them. So it was a request from a lot of our followers, sending us messages that we're putting together the instructional. So we'll see where it goes. We just finished getting Beatdown BBQ, go through the trademark process, and we'll see where it lands. We have Beatdown Coffee, coming out also. So it's kind of cool to be able to bring the martial arts brand, together, with the barbecue world, and show them that you can do both. There's no reason to separate it.
You mentioned like you like people leaving California and things like that. What makes you're like, I'm not leaving. What makes you want to stay connected to your community?
Well, one, my parents are here. Like, everyone working at the hospital, realize, the life's short. And everyone that's there, they always talk
Chips
about
Hospital.
Chips Hospital out there in Playa de Tijuana. They always, cancer patients.
Yeah.
There's always, people that wish that they had a day longer with their mom, day longer with their dad. And things are difficult now, but my parents have sacrificed a lot for me. They're getting older, so I'm here to sacrifice for them too. That's why the gym's so close. And during the pandemic, because gyms were closed, there were members of my family that weren't talking together. Well, they only had one place to work out. So like my brother and my father really were on speaking terms. They have to lift weights together. So now they got their relationship, back together. So that's why I stay here, mostly for my family, my parents, and the dedication of my students. We have people that are lifetime members at the gym. Like, it would have been very easy for the gym to close. You saw that happening in the pandemic. A lot of people, they were out of business within the first month. And realistically, no one's going to shut your doors down in a month. You just didn't want to do it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like, running a gym is very hard. There have been a lot of like sleepless nights. I remember, breaking down in tears even when I realized that I had to sell barbecue and make sales on a week to keep my gym open. I was like, this isn't fun anymore. It got difficult, So the reason I stay is for my family and for my community.
Yeah, right on, man. Well, man, it's awesome. Great work, man, with all the stuff. Congratulations on your career and what the more to come, right? It's just beginning, and hopefully things clear up. They don't lock us down some more with.
They hit me up for like the Netflix series a couple weeks ago, the American Barbecue Showdown.
On the way.
Yeah, I did one interview on the phone, and then I did a Zoom interview 2 weeks ago. And it was a good learning experience during that interview because as we're doing jiu-jitsu, it's real easy for us to have a solemn face, you know, and not smile. And I just think it's normal because that's just how I am when I'm training. And during that interview process, we did 2 hours. Jason smiled, Jason smiled, Jason smiled. So
they said that to you.
Yeah, it was good feedback. So I put my gi on during the interview. We did the Zoom call, talked to them how I was a black belt and, you know, what we're going to do. And we'll see where it goes. Right, it's an interesting process. It was kind of fun to go. I hadn't done a casting call since I used to do professional acting as a child. So I did commercials. I actually made it to the final 3 for Free Willy.
Free Willy.
Yeah, for Free Willy, yeah. I used to do professional acting. I did Celebrate LA at the Greek Theater. Had a small little acting career for a moment in time, and I made it to the final 3 for Free Willy. So I hadn't had a chance to have that casting call experience since I was in 5th grade.
You chose the jiu-jitsu lifestyle instead.
Yeah, I'm really glad that I was. My uncle was a producer for Channel 2, and he wanted to get me an agent to like push me in. It's all about connections. My parents said, no, we didn't want Jason to do that
lifestyle.
At the time, I was very angry. I'm like, dude, I can make it, you know, be famous, but I would have crashed and burned hard. So
it's a tough life, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It is what it is.
It is what it is, yeah.
Life's great. I wouldn't trade the jiu-jitsu journey, you know, for, you know, everything. It's like that question they always tell us, like, would you give up your black belt for, you know, $1 million, even like all the money in the world? But if you do that, like, you have to give up all the relationships, all the experiences you had during that time. That means my wife, my friends, my son. None of that's going to happen. Like, it's been a great journey through jiu-jitsu and looking to carry it on, you know, even farther.
Yeah, and spread it, right? Congrats, man. Congrats. Thanks, brother. Thanks for your friendship too.
Oh, for sure, definitely.
It's been amazing to see you grow up over the years and just work hard, you know, at everything that you do. Yeah. And it's really cool to see, you know, you bring the briskets up for us to try now. You know, it's just like a lot of love, you know, a lot of passion, like, you know, you're a hard dude, you know, but then it's really nice to see you smile and just open up, you know. So I appreciate our relationship and our friendship over the years.
I appreciate you too, and you know, watching you as being one of the leaders during the pandemic to keep things, you know, going strong. You're in a woke part of Los Angeles too, and you know, you're still keeping things, you know, strong, you know, over here. And one of my old students trains with you now too. Salvin Mendez.
Oh, Salvin, okay, yeah.
He's a lifetime member at the gym.
Oh, nice.
It made it difficult for him to make it out there, so he's training here with you too.
Oh,
and he has
nice.
a lot of good things to say about the training here.
Nice,
so.
Good. Glad to hear that.
So Salvin, when you watch this,
shout out to Salvin.
Yeah,
right on, brother. Right on.
All right, cool. It's been a pleasure. Thanks.